Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Jahliali. In this incarnation, we are here in one more day. And I wanted to comment that the moon went out of Sagittarius and already entered in Capricorn. And it is going to stay there until the early hours of December 5th, at least here in Argentina. So the emotional mood, it is more linked with the focus on goals, objectives, experiences, things that we want to construct in the material reality in a practical way. And what happens it is that this moon is responding to Saturn in Pisces, which is already activating. In fact, the sun in Sagittarius is activating a square with Saturn. And this is perfected in 2 days, which could have this expression of the paths, the experiences, the relationships that are sustained because of a will of wanting to fit in a social status, in a familiar role, jobs that are only at the service of the matter, but in this connection of the soul, everything that is in this connection of the soul, it is turning like a heavy load, a heavy burden. And what was a burden already, is becoming something that we cannot sustain. And in a few hours, the moon it is going to create a square with karma nodes, these mathematical points that are activated in eclipses season, and they are marking the direction of the evolution, the north node and the south node, the point where we need to do the cleansing. So let's remember that Pluto, the other day I mentioned this, Pluto in Aquarius is creating also contact with the karma nodes, but with harmonic aspects. So this implies that the elections, the choices that we need to make that require transformation and leaps into the void, we can approach them like letting go of the resistance in a more fluid way. But returning to the square of the moon in Capricorn with the karma nodes, this could be linked with crossroads. Usually, the contacts with karma nodes are crossroads, in which the experiences are facing us with situations or dynamics that could be internal, in which there is a tendency to assume burdens that are not corresponding to us, or there is a difficulty to put a healthy boundary, maybe because of guilt, because of wanting to be condescending with other people, because of the fear of their reaction or the fear of being alone. And this contact, it doesn't necessarily need to be expressed in a great scale, because it's a transit of one day, but it is going to depend on what is activating in your natal chart. But it is an opportunity to liberate ourselves from a pattern that it is challenging for us, to cultivate a healthy independence, to know that we are capable of moving forward in the path through which the spirit inside is guiding us, and that in the end it is the one that leads us to the experiences and relationships that genuinely can generate growth. So it is also important with this moon in Capricorn, and in addition, the tension between the sun and Saturn in Pisces. I mentioned this the last week. This could be expressed in inner dialogues that are very harsh, very rigid, because that is a distortion of the archetype of the father, which is represented by Capricorn. Because we can establish boundaries, we can put perseverance, we can give space to the emotions like frustration, like anger, like whatever thing we are feeling, and remember that I mentioned that Mars, it is about to be retrograde, so anger, it is also an emotion that these days can give a good signal of the things that we need to establish a boundary. But it is also important to observe the thoughts through which we are feeding those emotions, because the negative tendencies of the mind are actually external voices that we made them ours. And most of the children, most of the kids in its first years of life, they are like in this state of pure love and curiosity without judgment, then they become to be molded through the circumstances. So now that we are the adults, we are the ones that we have to give attention to those parts of ourselves that didn't receive it at those moments. So the constant focus in scarcity, in what is not manifested, in what is not happening, it is actually a rejection of what it is. And what it is, it has always a key, has always something to show us. And once we are really receptive to observe that, to see that, in a real acceptance, and something that I said before, it is that acceptance is a very personal and particular process, depending on circumstances and on the people, you know. So real acceptance doesn't imply wanting to run or escape from the situation anymore. And it is that kind of acceptance, the one that actually allows us to move to other situations. So I just wanted to leave this reflection today. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.